Hello, friends. Today we will talk about the soul, mind, and consciousness in Sikhism. I am Dr. Jagajit Singh Virk, MBBS, FCGP, FAMS, PGDGM. This is the beautiful picture of Shri Harminder Sahib, Darbar Sahib, Amritsar. We will talk about mind, body, and soul. The soul, mind, and consciousness, the concept of mind, soul, and consciousness are profound and intricate, and they have been explored deeply across different spiritual and philosophical traditions, including the teachings of the Guru Granth Sahib, the holy scripture of Sikhism. The soul, we call it Atma. In Sikhism, the soul, Atma, is understood as the eternal divine essence that is the true self of every individual. It is not bound by the physical body and is considered to be a spark of the ultimate reality. Waheguru, that's God. The soul is the part of us that is immortal and transcendental. Example from Shri Granth Sahib. The soul is the spark of the divine. It is the breath of life given by the Creator. Ang 1035. The soul is a divine light, like a flame that can never be extinguished. Ang 1349. This perspective emphasizes that the soul is pure, eternal, and intrinsically connected to God. The ultimate goal in Sikhism is to realize this divine nature of the soul and to unite with God. Second is the mind, man. The mind, man, in Sikhism refers to the faculty of thoughts, emotions, desires, and intellect. It is the part of the individual that engages with the material world, forms attachments, and is often the source of confusion, ego, and attachment. The mind, in this sense, is often seen as the obstacle to spiritual enlightenment, as it creates the illusion of separateness from the divine. It is a great wall between God and we. Example from Shri Granth Sahib. The mind is a turbulent and restless river which is difficult to control. But there is a saying in Bani, Man jeete jag jeet. But through devotion to God, it can be calmed. Ang 642. But through devotion to God, it can be calmed. The mind is the root cause of all suffering, but by focusing on God's name, it can be healed. Ang 282. The teachings encourage mastering the mind through meditation, self-discipline, and devotion to God. Consciousness, Chit. In Sikhism, consciousness, Chit, is often related to awareness and understanding, the state of being mindful of one's existence and actions in relation to the divine. The consciousness is tied to the soul, but it reflects the awareness of one's identity in the world. It is the lens through which we experience life, and it is often clouded by ego, ignorance, and worldly desires. Examples from Shri Granth Sahib. When the mind becomes absorbed in the name of God, consciousness becomes awakened and one realizes the true nature of the self. Ang 12454. The consciousness is the mirror where the light of God is reflected. Through meditation, we cleanse it to see the true image of the soul. Ang 663. In the Sikh tradition, consciousness is purified by devotion, meditation on God's name, Naam Simran, and living a truthful life. How are they related? The soul, mind, and consciousness are interrelated, and understanding their connection helps in realizing the true nature of self. The soul is the divine essence that connects us to God, the ultimate reality. The mind is the instrument through which we interact with the world and can either be a source of attachment or liberation, depending on how it is trained and directed. Consciousness is the awareness that reflects the state of the soul through the mind. It is the state of being in tune with the soul and ultimately God. When the mind is overcome by ego and desires, it clouds the consciousness, making it difficult to realize the true nature of the soul. However, when the mind is disciplined and focused on the divine through meditation and selfless service, the consciousness becomes clear and the soul's connection to God becomes apparent. How can we know ourselves? In Sikhism, self-realization is the key to understanding one's true nature. This realization involves understanding that we are not the body or the mind, but the soul, a reflection of God's divine light. The process of knowing oneself involves self-awareness and reflection, recognizing the mind's distractions and attachments. Meditation on Naam, divine name, Naam Simran, engaging in Naam Simran, repetition of God's name purifies the mind and brings clarity to consciousness. Living a righteous life, engaging in selfless service, humility, and devotion aligns the mind and consciousness with the soul's divine purpose. This is who I am. How can we know ourselves? Example from Shri Granth Sahib. When you recognize the self, you will realize that your soul is a part of the divine. Ang 944. He who meditates on God's name with love, his consciousness becomes pure and he realizes the true essence of his soul. Ang 679. Conclusion. The soul, mind, and consciousness are interconnected aspects of the human experience in Sikhism. The soul is divine, eternal, and connected to God. The mind is a tool that can either lead us away from it or towards the realization of the soul's nature, and consciousness reflects the awareness of this connection. By purifying the mind, focusing on God, and meditating on His name, one can awaken to the true nature of the soul and know oneself, ultimately achieving liberation, that's Mukti and unity with God. These teachings, rich in the Guru Granth Sahib, provide a guide for living a spiritual life, directing one towards inner peace, self-realization, and a deeper connection with the divine. Thank you very much.